2017 is what I like to call the miracle vintage because it started off looking lousy. We spent the summer fairly cool, a lot of moisture. But by the time we reached ripening in August, things just took off. And we had one of the most perfect stretches of weather and one of the most perfect falls we've ever had in the Finger Lakes. And so this vintage, the 2017 Gewürztraminer, shows all of that. It is a wine where we took many different approaches to Gewürz. It's made up of stainless steel fermented. It's made up of barrel fermented Gewürz. About 20% was done in neutral oak, so oak that wasn't giving it flavor, but maximizing lees contact. And it did receive a very short cold soak. So when we talk about Gewürztraminer and this idea of cold soaking, it's about letting the skins of the grapes sit with some of the juice. Usually that's done in the press. Some people do it in lots of different containers. We usually will take it through the crusher to stemmer, put it into the press if we're doing a cold soak, and let it sit there. Usually we will harvest this in the morning, the fruit's still cool. This vintage was perfect because the fruit was, I think, about 50 degrees, 56 degrees max. And so when we got it into the press to sit with the juice, it had a very nice temperature. It stayed in there for about 4.5 hours before we pressed it off and brought that juice into the winery for fermentation. So this is a wine that combines those different elements of techniques that we like to use here at the winery, and we're going to give it a taste. Gewürz always has this beautiful, slightly kind of darker straw yellow color. And it comes in part because the skins of Gewürztraminer don't look like your ordinary kind of green grapes, white grape. They have this pinkish hue to them, where if you're thinking of kind of the pinkish red table grapes you'll buy in the grocery store, that's really what they look like. And that, especially in conditions when there's a cold soak, it imbues some of that color into the wine, giving it a little bit of a richer texture in the glass. Just explosive aromatically. Again, very typical of the varietal, showing lychee, showing almost this hint of pumpkin spice, showing all of those fall warm scents that we love. You almost get the sense of walking through, fall leaves. There's a small brush pile fire off in the distance. Some of that is just a touch of reduction on this freshly opened bottle. But then those fruits just come right at you. I think this one's particularly interesting because not only are we getting lychee, banana bread, all of those original notes, but I'm also getting this hint of like orange peel on the palate or on the nose. Just wonderful aromatics. This is a much softer version of Gewürz compared to even our 2016 Gewürztraminer. The acid feels less pronounced, and it is, but there's also a touch more residual sugar. This one is, again, not a sweet wine by any stretch, but that residual sugar is there, and it helps to build on, to me at least, the flavor compounds of the fruits to make it richer, broader on the palate. Really quite a luxurious Gewürztraminer. Some of those spice characteristics are coming through. So interestingly, Gewürztraminer is a grape that is oftentimes thought of as coming just from Germany, but the origins of it are actually northern Italy. The word Gewürz is a German word for spice, and it's a natural sort of field mutation that happened of this grape to develop more spicy characteristics from its parent grape, the Traminer grape. So It's an interesting varietal that has expressions throughout Italy, throughout Germany, throughout France in the Alsace region. In the United States, it's grown in California and Oregon and lots of other places, but I think that the Finger Lakes makes a very compelling, very unique style. And this particular wine, I forgot to mention, did come from the Gibson Vineyard, which is about 10 miles north of here. So make sure you grab this. Make sure you grab a couple. You're going to want to have this at Thanksgiving. You're going to want to have this with your exotic foods, and you're really going to like it.